Listen closely to me, because what I am about to say is not a normal line, not a light comment, not an opinion of a person. It is a divine announcement. God has declared that you will become a billionaire. When God speaks, reality does not argue, it bends. When God releases a word over your life, everything in existence starts shifting, moving, rearranging itself to fulfill that word. You may not look like it right now. You may not feel anything close to it. Your account might seem to deny it. But if God has spoken it, it already exists in the realm of the Spirit. It is already written into your destiny. It is already signed in the courts of heaven. When God speaks, He does not check your past. He does not study your mistakes or your failures. He does not check your family background, your education, your network, or your status. God does not need to ask anyone's permission to lift you. When God says you will be a billionaire, He is not predicting your future. He is declaring it. The same voice that said, "Let there be light," is the same voice saying to you now, "You will be a billionaire." And when the voice of God goes out like thunder in the spiritual world, everything that once resisted you begins to surrender. Doors that were locked tight begin to open wide. Resources that seemed far suddenly find their way to you because a command from heaven has been released. There are moments when God speaks a word so powerful that the earth itself must respond. When God decides to raise someone, He does not need to ask for approval. When God chooses to bless a person, there is no curse, no demon, no jealousy, no limitation that can stop it. God Himself has said, you will be a billionaire, not for bragging, not for pride, not for chasing money, but to show His glory through your abundance. Because when a righteous person rises financially, the name of God shines through their giving, through their building, through their influence. You must understand something deeper. The blessing of God is not produced by effort alone. It comes through favor. The world teaches you to push harder, work longer, compete endlessly. But when God speaks wealth into your life, it is not your sweat that brings it. It is the breath of His Spirit that carries it toward you. The wealth you are about to walk into will not come by logic. It will come by divine alignment. God is raising billionaires from unexpected places, from the hidden, from the quiet, from the overlooked, from the ones who dared to believe even when the world said it was impossible. People misunderstand wealth. They think wealth is only about money. It is not. True wealth is the expression of divine abundance. It is the overflow of what God has already planned for you. It is a sign that your life is lining up with His intention. When God says you will be a billionaire, He is not only talking about numbers in an account. He is talking about your ability to influence, to uplift, to rebuild, to bless, to shape lives, to transform environments. Becoming a billionaire is not only a financial identity. It is a calling. It is a covenant assignment. It is a responsibility carried with grace. And you must prepare yourself for what God has spoken, because when God gives a promise, He also prepares the person who will carry that promise. A billion-level blessing requires a heart strong enough to handle it. Many people want the reward, but they resist the process of discipline, trust, and faith. Divine wealth is not given to people who chase money. It is given to those who chase God. Money is supposed to serve you, not guide you. And when God sees that you will not let wealth control you, He will command wealth to follow you. There will be seasons of silence before fulfillment. God will measure your faith before He trusts you with fortune. He will ask you to stand firm even when no evidence shows, because faith is the currency that activates spiritual promises. Faith is the unseen account that funds the seen one. You cannot withdraw from heaven what you have not deposited through faith. When God said you will be a billionaire, He was not checking your intelligence. He was checking your belief. Can you trust Him when your life seems to contradict His word? Can you remain confident when people laugh? Remember this: every person chosen by God to carry great wealth must first be shaped by God. Before elevation comes breaking, before filling comes emptying. Do not hate your current season of lack or limitation. It is the training ground of abundance. God is teaching you how to manage plenty by letting you understand the value of little. He is shaping your character so that when wealth arrives, it does not destroy you. He is removing pride, greed, fear, and impatience. He is clearing your heart so that when the doors finally open, your spirit will remain steady and pure. The promise of God never collapses. Time cannot wipe it out. Delay cannot erase it. Doubt cannot cancel it. When God said, "You will be a billionaire," that word became eternal. It cannot die. It will live until it manifests. And when the appointed season arrives, you will look back and realize that every event, every win, every setback, every disappointment, every person who left, and every tear you cried was part of the design God used to build you into who you needed to be. God wastes nothing. Even your pain becomes part of the investment that produces your future blessing. But listen with your spirit. You must begin to think like the person God has called you to be. If God said you will be a billionaire, you cannot think like a beggar. You cannot speak like someone defeated. You cannot behave like someone unsure of destiny. You must lift your mindset. God will only release prosperity to the level your revelation can hold. You cannot receive what you cannot see. The boundaries of your mind become the boundaries of your results. When you think small, you limit the greatness of God working in you. When you think big, you honor His power. Do not worry about how it will happen. It is not your job to understand the entire process. God specializes in making rivers in the desert. He brings oil from a small jar. He feeds multitudes with almost nothing. He does not operate by human logic. He moves through faith. Your job is to align, not to analyze. You do not need to understand the whole route when you trust the one leading you. You do not need the equation when you know the source. If God said you will be a billionaire, your duty is to walk as though it is already real. Speak like someone who carries wealth. Think like someone who has a divine assignment. Act like someone whose promise is already stamped by heaven. Be careful with what you say. Your words are the steering wheel of your destiny. Stop repeating lack. Stop agreeing with fear. Stop speaking defeat. Start speaking the language of abundance. Say, I am who God says I am. I have what God says I have. I will see what God promised me. Every time you speak like this, you shift atmosphere. Words are seeds. When you speak abundance, abundance begins to form. When you speak faith, faith strengthens. When you speak growth, growth starts showing. The reason God wants to raise you as a billionaire is not for comfort alone. It is for calling. It is not for showing off. It is for impact. You will support visions, build shelters, create opportunities, feed families, rescue the hurting, open doors for others, and prove that the blessing of God is real. You will demonstrate that serving God is not a disadvantage. You will show that obedience is not poverty. You will prove that walking with God does not mean living small. Your wealth will speak louder than any sermon. It will show that God is not just spoken about, He is experienced. The world has seen billionaires created through manipulation, dishonesty, selfish ambition, and corrupt systems. But now God is raising billionaires whose wealth is rooted in righteousness, built through purpose, and carried with humility. Men and women who will not bow to greed. Men and women who will use their resources to lift others, not crush them. Men and women whose prosperity will shine like light in a dark world. Men and women who will be trustworthy vessels of abundance. Men and women who will show the world what God can do with a surrendered heart. and you are one of them. The word God spoke over you will not fail. It is already moving. It is already unfolding. It is already forming. Walk in it. Believe it. Speak it. Prepare for it, because what God said will not return empty. You will rise. You will prosper. You will flourish. You will become everything God declared. You will be a billionaire by purpose, by destiny, and by divine design. And nothing on earth or in hell can stop what heaven has begun in your life. You are a person of honor, a person whose success is rooted in prayer, whose increase flows from obedience, whose prosperity is shaped by integrity. God is rewriting how wealth works in your life. He is saying, I can lift anyone to greatness if their heart stays with me. You are that person. You are that vessel. You are the one I picked for this journey. Protect your heart while you rise, because when wealth shows up, attention comes with it. Some people will try to attach themselves to your success because of what you carry. Some will admire you. Some will misunderstand you. Some will envy you. But remember this always. Your calling is not social. Your calling is divine. You do not owe explanations to people when you are following God's instructions. If God said you will walk in great wealth, then your loyalty must stay with the one who spoke, not with the ones watching. Never measure your progress by looking at others. Some may rise faster, some may rise slower, but divine timing is not delay. Divine timing is accuracy. God is not slow. He is strategic. He prepares things in ways you cannot see. Every step you take is guided by divine wisdom. Even when you feel behind, God is lining up the right connections, opening the right doors, bringing the right favor, and guiding you into the right environments for your blessing to show up. You are not late. You are being shaped. You are being trained. The promise is not coming early or late. It will show up the exact moment you are ready to hold it. Your surroundings may doubt. Your friends may question. Your family may not understand. But their doubt does not matter when God Himself has already confirmed you. Every no from people means nothing when heaven has already said yes. When God approves you, you walk with a certain boldness. You talk with authority. You carry yourself with the dignity of someone who knows their destiny. And when the time of fulfillment comes, and it will come, you will stand before the world as proof that God never lies. Your testimony will shut the mouths of critics. Your breakthrough will inspire others. People will ask, how did you do it? And you will simply say, God promised it, and I believed Him. That will be the real secret of your rise. Not technique, not talent, but surrender. True wealth is not coincidence. True wealth is covenant. You are not chasing money. You are fulfilling what was spoken over your life. You are walking in a script God wrote before you were born. Whatever challenge you face right now is only revealing how valuable your destiny is. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. When God speaks abundance over you, He is not describing a chance. He is revealing a certainty. You are not hoping to be wealthy. You are walking toward what heaven already confirmed. God's word is not like human words. People can change their minds. People can forget what they said. People can break promises. But God's word stands forever. The moment God declared that wealth would be your portion, your future changed. The invisible laws of the universe began to move for you. The winds of destiny began to shift. The hand of God began to work behind the scenes. Even when you cannot see it, things are moving. Even when nothing looks different, everything is changing in the Spirit. But here is something important. Wealth without wisdom destroys, but wealth with divine guidance transforms. God will not place abundance into unprepared hands. He builds your mind before He fills your account. He strengthens your character before He expands your resources. Because the higher you go, the deeper your roots must be. Wealth doesn't create a new version of you. Wealth reveals who you already are. This is why God allows refining. He allows challenges to polish you, not punish you. He tests your patience. He shapes your motives. He watches your loyalty. He asks quietly, will you trust me even when nothing around you looks like what I promised? Anyone can trust God when blessings are visible, but real faith stands strong in the dark. Faith is proven in silence. Faith is proven in waiting. Faith is proven when you hold on to God's word, even when everything looks opposite. Many people never rise financially because they want the blessing but reject the process. They pray for abundance but ignore God's instruction. They desire success but avoid obedience. God is not looking for dreamers who only talk about wealth. He is looking for doers who walk in His principles. Every promise has a condition. You cannot expect God to bless you while living outside His wisdom. He blesses the obedient, not the careless. He lifts those who walk in honesty, those who give even when they feel stretched, those who trust Him with their resources. When you put God first, He makes abundance your portion. God teaches you the economy of faith, a system where supernatural supply flows from what you release, not from what you hold. The world teaches fear. Hold everything, save every coin, protect your wealth. But God teaches trust, give, and I will multiply it. God is not trying to take from you. He is trying to expand you. When you give to others, when you support the needy, when you invest in good causes, you are opening the doors of divine return. What you give doesn't leave your life. It leaves your hand and goes into your future. God never forgets a seed. Every act of generosity is a transaction in the Spirit, recorded and waiting for the perfect time to come back multiplied. You must train your eyes to look beyond what is visible. The physical world is not the final world. It is simply a reflection of the spiritual. Poverty begins in the mind long before it appears in the life, and prosperity begins in faith long before it shows in finances. You cannot have a wealthy spirit and remain permanently poor in manifestation. The world responds to faith. What you truly believe in your heart becomes what you eventually see in your life. That is why you must guard your thoughts, your meditations, your words. They are building your reality. Whenever God gives you a promise, the enemy will try to talk you out of it. He will whisper, you're not good enough, you're too late, others are better. But God never chooses the qualified. God qualifies the chosen. When He said you will be wealthy, He already considered your flaws, your failures, your weaknesses. None of them disqualify you. In fact, they are part of the story that will make His glory bright through your life. When you rise, people will know it was not your strength, but God's hand. Do not let small thinkers limit your big destiny. Some will tell you that wanting wealth is wrong. They don't understand that divine abundance is not greed, it is purpose. How can you help the hungry without resources? How can you support families, build shelters, create opportunities, or lift your community without provision? God gives wealth to those whose hearts are compassionate. He raises financial giants not for self-glory, but for responsibility. Your rising is not just for you. You are blessed so you can bless others. You are chosen so you can be a channel of good. There will be moments when you feel tired, when you feel stretched, when you wonder why the journey is long. In those moments, remember that God is still working even when you cannot see anything happening. Your story is being shaped. Your strength is being built. Your faith is being purified. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are in preparation for a life that will surprise even you. When you feel like nothing is shifting, when your efforts appear useless, and when your faith feels tired, remind yourself of this truth. God often works in quiet places. A seed develops underground long before anyone sees a leaf. The season where you wait is not the season where you waste. It is the season where God shapes you, strengthens you, and prepares you. He builds your endurance so that when success finally shows up, you will have the strength to carry it. Many people receive blessings they cannot keep because they never allowed God to build their foundation. Do not hurry what God is completing. His timing is never flawed. When He finally releases a flood of blessings, it will be so great that you will understand why the waiting was necessary. And when the breakthrough arrives, do not forget the one who gave it to you. Wealth can be a soft trap. It can make a person forget the true source. Once a heart forgets God, that is the moment sinking begins. Stay humble. Stay connected to the one who lifted you. Never let prosperity take you away from surrender. When your hands overflow, keep your heart free from pride. When you sit with people of influence, remember the nights when you cried to God alone. Gratitude protects blessings. Humility guards them. God is never limited by systems. He does not need the economy to shift in your favor. He does not need special contacts to bless you. He does not depend on your job, your sales, your business, or your investors to lift you into abundance. All He requires is your belief. He can use a tiny idea, a single open door, one random meeting, even a stranger you never expected, to change your entire life. Stop trying to figure out every detail. Focus on the one who controls all details. When you trust God fully, He will surprise you with sudden movement. In one single day, your entire story can transform. In one moment, years of struggle can disappear. You do not serve a God of slow motion. You serve a God who gives sudden miracles. There is also spiritual battle connected to the wealth God wants to place in your hands. When God prepares to lift you higher, darkness will attempt to distract you. It will try to send confusion, temptation, laziness, frustration, or fear. Not because the enemy is strong, but because your future is dangerous to his plans. He fears what happens when a God-driven billionaire rises. He fears what will take place when you start funding light, truth, healing, and hope. This is why you must guard your thoughts and protect your peace. Guard your focus like gold, because it is. Distraction is the enemy of destiny. Stay rooted in what God said, not in what people talk about. There will be people who criticize you. There will be people who laugh at your dreams. Some will call you unrealistic. Some will call you proud. But they did not hear the promise God whispered to you. They were not present when God showed you glimpses of your future. Do not expect them to understand what God never revealed to them. Walk quietly, walk steadily. Let your results speak louder than your words. A day will come when those who mocked you will come to you for advice. Those who doubted you will look for your wisdom. God will use your rise to silence voices that once spoke against you. And when you step into that season of overflow, always remember that money is not the master. Money is only a messenger. It is not the final goal. It is a tool. Use it to reflect God's character. Let your wealth bring light to dark places, bring joy where pain lives, and bring hope where despair has settled. Build with it, heal with it, lift others with it. You were not created only to be rich. You were created to make a difference. Wealth is simply the language through which your impact will speak. Never forget this truth. The words God has spoken over your life carry the strength to fulfill themselves. You do not need to force them with worry or fear. The word God gave you contains the power to bring itself to life. Just as a seed carries a full tree inside it, the promise of God carries your future wealth within it. Your responsibility is to believe, to protect that belief, and to keep your faith breathing even when everything around you looks impossible. Faith is the ground where divine promises grow. When God chooses to lift someone into a place of abundance, He does not check your bank account. He checks your faith. God does not judge your job position, your background, your school, or your last name. He looks at your trust in Him, because the Wealth He is transferring into your life is not made by human hands. It is a divine release. There are treasures that have been kept in hidden places, waiting for the right heart. There are doors that have been closed for generations, waiting for one voice of faith to open them. And when God said you would rise into billionaire influence, He was declaring to every force in heaven and on earth that you are the chosen vessel. But understand this, becoming a billionaire in God's system is not only about money. It is about spiritual depth. God expands your inner world before He expands your outer world. He shifts your thinking before He shifts your position. He shapes your character before He multiplies your resources. Wealth without God's direction becomes power without purpose, dangerous and temporary. That is why He allows fire before releasing gold. He is not delaying you. He is defining you. He is not hiding blessings. He is protecting them until you are ready. There is something powerful about God's timing. Many people damage their own blessings by rushing something only God can release. You cannot fast forward something divine. You can only prepare yourself for it. When God sets a season, your impatience cannot make it come early. But when the right moment arrives, not even your enemies can stop it. There will come a moment when what you prayed for will suddenly appear. And in that moment, you will realize why it seemed slow. God was organizing every part, arranging every detail, aligning every step so that everything would meet at the exact time destiny required. Your journey to divine wealth may not look bright right now. You may be surrounded by limits, confusion, or hardship. But remember, God begins masterpieces in quiet places. Diamonds are not shaped in sunlight. They are formed in pressure, in heat, in deep, hidden places. So if you feel pressure, if you feel you are in a dark place, do not curse the process. God is forming something valuable inside you. Every challenge, every pause, every tear is building your capacity to handle what He will place in your hands. Do not look at others and feel slow. Some rise through human ladders, while others rise through God's lifting. What human hands build can fall in one night, but what God builds will remain. The wealth coming toward you will not fade because it has purpose inside it. You will not be only rich, you will be meaningful. Your influence will not be only financial, it will be spiritual. You will walk with a kind of authority that money cannot buy, because your prosperity will be dressed in divine strength. See yourself as a caretaker, not the owner. What God gives is not for worship, it is for management. You are not the source, you are the channel. God sends blessings to you so they can flow through you. The moment you understand that you are a distributor of divine wealth and not just someone who receives it, that is the moment you step into a higher level of blessing, responsibility, and transformation. That is the moment you become the vessel God can trust with influence, resources, and impact far beyond your imagination, unstoppable. When your intentions match divine purpose, heaven's resources flow endlessly. God trusts those who use wealth to spread His goodness, not to feed their ego. And hear this clearly. Divine wealth will test your humility, it will test your relationships, and it will test your focus, because wealth magnifies what is already inside you. If greed is in your heart, wealth will reveal it. If pride is in your heart, wealth will intensify it. But if gratitude is in your heart, wealth will multiply it. That is why you must keep your spirit low before God, even when your name rises high among men. The higher He lifts you, the deeper you must bow in humility. Remember where you started. Remember who sustained you when no one else saw. Never forget that it was God who opened every door and orchestrated every step. You will notice that when God begins to fulfill His promise, opportunities will start to appear where none existed before. Ideas will flow like rivers. People will be drawn to you not by chance, but by divine magnetism. You will start to see patterns of favor that cannot be explained. Do not call it luck. It is divine alignment. God's favor will go ahead of you into meetings, into negotiations, into decisions. Your name will be spoken in rooms you have never entered. Your reputation will rise even before you arrive. And when you finally step in, the environment will already be ready to receive you. That is how God works. He goes before His chosen ones. Be careful to keep peace in the middle of success. Many rise, but few stay steady. True wealth is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of divine stability. When storms come, wealth without God falls apart. But when your foundation is built on faith, no storm can shake you. God will teach you how to be content in plenty and patient in scarcity. He will show you that peace is the greatest currency of all. When you have peace with God, everything else aligns. You must also learn to listen for God's voice. Even in prosperity, abundance can sometimes be louder than wisdom. The noise of success can drown out the whisper of guidance. Never let your growth silence your dependence. The same voice that led you through the wilderness must continue to lead you through wealth. Stay alert. Keep your heart low before Him, because one wrong partnership, one wrong choice, one moment of pride can destroy what took years to build. But if you stay anchored in divine instruction, you will not just gain wealth, you will preserve it for generations. There will be people who try to copy your success without understanding your source. They will chase your results but ignore your connection with God. They will imitate your actions but not your alignment. Let them try. They will soon learn that what is divine cannot be copied without devotion. The key to your prosperity is not a formula, it is a covenant. What works for you is not your strategy, it is your surrender. God raises those who submit fully, not those who calculate partially. Do not be surprised when people leave you during your journey. God will isolate you before He elevates you. He removes those who cannot handle your next level. He separates you from distraction so He can prepare you for distinction. You may weep over who left, but one day you will thank God for protecting you from those who would have limited you. Every departure is divine pruning, and every pruning makes room for new growth. You are being prepared to handle influence. Wealth is influence, and influence is responsibility. The moment you rise, others will look to you for direction, inspiration, and leadership. God is preparing you to be a light, not a spotlight, but a lighthouse. A spotlight draws attention to itself, but a lighthouse guides others safely home. That is what your wealth will become. A light of hope for those lost in darkness, a sign of what faith can achieve. God said you will be a billionaire, but not just for your comfort. He said it because through you, others will see that trusting God is not in vain. Your story will preach louder than any sermon. When people see what God has done in your life, they will be reminded that nothing is impossible for those who believe. You will be a living testimony of divine faithfulness. You will show that obedience is never wasted, that prayer is never ignored, and that humility is never forgotten. So as you move forward, refuse to let fear direct your steps. Fear has never built anything of value. Fear is the language of limitation. Faith is the language of dominion. Speak faith, walk faith, think faith. Let your entire being reflect trust in God's power. When you act in faith, heaven acts with you. When you take one step in obedience, God takes 10 steps in acceleration. The day will come, and it is coming soon, when everything God promised will stand visible before your eyes. The wealth will come, the opportunities will come, the expansion will come, and you will look back and say, it was all worth it. You will see why you had to cry, why you had to wait, why you had to be misunderstood. You will understand that every closed door was divine protection, every delay was divine preparation, and every hardship was divine construction. You will stand in awe not of what you accomplished, but of what God accomplished through you. As you walk in that promise, remember that the greatest wealth is not what you have, but who has you. Stay in God. Let Him remain your anchor, your wisdom, your guide. The true billionaire is not the one with the most money, but the one with the greatest peace, purpose, and power flowing from God. Your hands may hold gold, but your heart must hold gratitude. Your account may overflow, but your soul must remain grounded in humility. This is your season of becoming. This is the hour when prophecy turns into reality. God has spoken, and His word does not return empty. Every promise will mature. Every vision will manifest. Every dream He planted will bear fruit. Walk with confidence. Speak with authority. Live with conviction, because God has already settled it in heaven. You will be a billionaire, not for vanity, but for victory, not for display, but for destiny. The world will see your success, but only you will know the secret. It was God and God alone. So stand firm in faith. What God has spoken cannot be undone. The path may challenge you, but the promise will triumph. When God says you will be a billionaire, it is not a wish, it is a decree written in eternity. Walk boldly, think greatly, give generously, and remain humble. Every breath of your success, every blessing in your hands, every door that opens before you will echo one truth. God alone is the source, the sustainer, and the finisher of your destiny.